We are live for a brand new episode of The Comic Den, where we're going to be talking about the Galactus Trilogy. I think this is the most important story to lead up into Fantastic Four First Steps, which is about to come out, that we are both anticipating, looking forward to. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
Anyway, what is up, everybody? Oh, I see you in the chat, Matthew and Steve number 2, aka Steve Spawn. Great to see you all here. As per usual, we always appreciate seeing you all around. Oh, and there's Blue. Yeah, boo! Blue's here. How terrible. No,
hey, it's Blue!
Gotta get Blue on here sometime. But anyway, we are going to be talking about the Galactus trilogy here shortly. And so... yeah. But before we do, we are going to talk about anything that we've read and what we are looking forward to that's coming out this week. But before we do so, for anybody new here or watching on the replay, all that stuff, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel. And oh, look, and there's MSK as well.
Two white guys. Okay.
I mean, you're not wrong. You know, we were talking about doing a Fantastic Four First Steps review, and so I actually was meaning to message MSK about that. But last week, or almost a week ago, we did a review, a big panel review for Superman, which did really good. And so, and that actually turned out to be a really good watch stream, like one of my highest viewed streams. So thank you all so much for checking out that Superman stream, which was awesome.
We just finished one up earlier today.
Yeah, I was about to say, and you all did one earlier today as well. And so both great Superman reviews. Go check them out. They were both fantastic. And so very happy with how mine went. And it looked like yours was really good too.
Yeah, I like how ours turned out. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked like good fun. And so definitely, you know, I think lots of good conversation, and like they weren't like the same kind of copy and paste review. I felt like the contents of both were a bit different in some regard, which is good. So go check out both our Superman reviews. And so good stuff there. Also on Saturday, it was supposed to happen Thursday, but it got pushed back to Saturday because of weather reasons. Me and Chris did our streamed version of Shell Talk, where we talked about the first half of A City at War, which is like the big finale arc to the original Eastman and Laird original Turtles comic run. And so we talked about the first half of that because it's 13 issues, and so we wanted to break it down and give, you know, it more time to talk about each of the parts. And so we're going to be talking about the second half sometime this week, so check that out, where that'll be posted up. And I'm trying to think of what else that we have going on. Of course, next week we'll always be back with another Comic Den, where we will be talking about another Fantastic Four story. Trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing, but I think that's everything. So, and I haven't been as live on Twitch recently, but check out Dingus Den on Twitch if Twitch is your thing and you like to check out gaming stuff there. But I haven't been as active there recently, so. But yeah. But yeah, what stuff have you been reading?
It's been a really slow week for comic book reading for me. I didn't even read my complete pull list from last week. I read these two.
Both.
Superman Unlimited number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Absolute Batman number 10.
What a wild issue that was.
Yes, it was. And then, of course, I read the Galactus Trilogy.
Of course.
But on top of that, I read this Supergirl The Girl of Steel
There we
trade
go. Very nice.
paperback. Most of it is written by Jeff Loeb. There are a few issues that are written by some other folks, Joe Kelly. But most of it's written by Jeff Loeb.
Oh my gosh. MSK in the chat is cracking me up here saying I need to read more, but I'm black, so I don't read. anyway,
but yeah, that was really about it.
I'm trying to think of everything I've read because I actually knocked off a bit of like my single issues I had, and so like lingering issue pulls that I had, as well as all my pulls from last week, I read all of those. I also, except for the exception of a couple of miniseries that I set aside that I'm about to get into, and so that's like the next priority on my list of stuff to read. That and more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, because there's a bunch of like middle stuff that doesn't matter as much that with Shell Talk, me and Chris just completely skipped over, and so I wanted to read a bunch of that in between stuff, and so I would say I read most of it, but not all of it. And so I'm gonna work on trying to read the rest of that before we record our next one. But yeah, of course, I read the Galactus trilogy. I actually have it in a nice hardcover here.
Oh, nice.
This is actually a really cool one that includes couple other big Galactus arcs as well. And then actually earlier today, I read a couple fun Marvel one-shots, and one of them I'd actually recommend to you. But before we get to the one I'd recommend to you, I read this one that was fun. The Pluminati, which is just silly fun. And then the one I think you should check out whenever it hits Marvel Unlimited, it might actually already be on there, is Captain America and Volstagg. The beginning of this is fantastic. You should check it out.
Okay.
Well, you're talking about. I know you're a big Captain America fan, and Volstagg's a big Thor character, and so
should be interesting.
It's definitely interesting. So. And one thing that I haven't opened this yet, but I did get something special from my comic shop when I went, and I did post this around. But for anybody that didn't see it, look at this.
Good Lord!
Transformers Compendium 1. This concludes. Look at how big this is. This includes 50 issues of Transformers. It includes the original 4 issues of the original Transformers miniseries. And then includes the first 46 issues of the main 1984 series. And so you gotta love Image. 50 issues for $65, and I picked it up at my comic store. So a little bit of a big buy that I wanted to, this is something I've been wanting, and so what do you want to say? I caved in and bought it. So, but yeah. But yeah, I got a good bit of reading done, so I was actually quite happy with how much I read this last week.
Good.
So finally catching up on stuff, because it seems like I know I said this a couple of weeks ago, and then I got myself behind again because of reading other stuff. I was just always saying like, oh yeah, I was behind on my pool, and so. But I'm finally, other than the miniseries I set aside,
it's easy to get behind.
Yeah. So there's a bit of catch up, and once you see how big my piles are, it's like Jesus. I'm just trying to focus on trying to read a bit more of those, but then I also have other digital stuff I'm trying to read as well. So, just trying to give a good, fair balance, I guess. So, and then I say that, and then I buy stuff like this that'll take forever to get through. So, that's just how it goes.
That's fair.
But anyway, let's talk about what comics we're looking forward to this week. This week is quite big for me. Yeah, you only have a few things, although
comics
are big.
Yeah, you say that, but I just realized there's something else coming out this week that I didn't realize was coming out this week, and once again, for some reason, it's not on my pull list.
So is this a fourth thing, or the one I pointed out?
This is a fourth thing.
Okay.
I'm about to send you a link to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how this escaped me. But I think what's happening is when I click pull on League of Comic Book Geeks, it's only doing single issues.
Yeah, they have like a button for like series I have to double check about.
So I just sent you in Discord the fourth one.
Okay. Let's get that pulled up, and we'll why don't we start with that anyway, since we are talking about it, and that is Star Wars Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent. There we go.
I like that cover.
You know, I will give you that is a nice cover. Yeah,
I wonder.
I like it.
I haven't had a chance. I'm looking at the variants now. We're trying to. League is being
A little slow. Yeah.
League is being quite slow again.
Yeah, they are having.
No, that's that's probably the best cover they got. The variants are not great. Yeah, I'd say that's the best cover right there, the one that you're showing.
I do like the cover though. It is a solid cover. I hope you're happy with the first issue, since
I was. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the character. So
there you go. Very nice.
It's a very good one.
Let's see here. In other news, the other Marvel title is actually on my list. Wolverine issue 11. Big Wolverine versus Sabretooth battle. I think last time I talked about Wolverine, I was like, I kind of don't know what was going on, because that was when I was behind. But since I've read up on like what was going on here, and seems like another one of those big things with Sabretooth behind of what's going on, and there's stuff with the Howlett estate and that where Logan's at now, which is interesting, and
nice.
It looks like his mother's alive, so interesting.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Yeah. So we'll see where this goes. I might drop this series after this arc, though. This is the second to last of that arc, so we'll see what happens, though.
I noticed that Dr. Aphra comic is the only Marvel title that is still that is on my list for this week.
Yeah.
If you guys were not aware, I did temporarily drop all the X-Men titles, just temporary, just until things get more controlled with money.
Fair enough. Completely understand. Other titles on my pull list, there's issue 2 of The Curse of Shirley Johnson. I don't remember how many issues this is. I think it's 6. The first issue I thought was very refreshing, with a bunch of the Image titles going up in price. This one's remaining at the generic price, but with a bunch of the Image titles going up in price, that kind of gave me the what do you want to say, my call to action to finally cut off some of the Spawn stuff that like kind of wasn't going like crazy about story wise. And so with them all raising up in price, I'm like, well, maybe I should look at actually cutting these down. And so now I've been very like, what do you want to say? Like highly picky. I think picky is a better word to say. Of like which ones I'm getting there. And so right now, the only main one I'm actually getting, I just cut off King Spawn. So now the only one I'm getting is Spawn. And then I'm getting a last issue of Medieval Spawn. And then this is the only other Spawn related title, which has like nothing to do with any of the main Spawn stuff. And I think that's part of the reason why I really like this, because it just feels very refreshing. And it's like part of a side of Spawn that you kind of don't see too much. Of the Spawn universe, not Spawn, like Spawn's not even in this. Well, I mean, I guess he's in it technically for a little bit, I think in like a flashback, but yeah, point is though, this feels very refreshing and it's like its own thing for now. And I'm really digging. I really like that first issue actually. And so looking forward to seeing what's next with it. We also just on my pull list, there is Green Lantern issue 25, which actually begins a crossover with Green Lantern Corps, where it's doing 6 issues for Starbreaker Supremacy, Starbreaker War. So if you actually... oh, look, it's a Nicole. What's up, Nicole? Welcome in. So, because you read the Green Lantern when it first started with the All In, right?
Yeah, this was one of them that I cut due to financial constraints, but I plan to. I mean, a lot of them that I haven't read, I'm sure are already on DC Infinite.
Yeah.
So I just need to go back and
Mhm.
I just need to go back and read them. I've just been like bogged down with other stuff that I'm reading, and
Yeah, I completely understand.
my obsessions have been elsewhere. So
I completely understand that too. So completely fair. Well, what I was getting to there is, if I remember right, in the last pages, like last page or two of that first issue, it hints at the Starbreaker character, and you finally get to see where it's all coming in this.
yeah,
As there's just been kind of, I don't want to call it a filler arc, but like they were just focusing on a bunch of other stuff, and we've been getting a little bits of teases along the way of what's leading up to it, and across both titles, Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. So it's cool to see them having this sort of crossover. And yeah, I don't know. I think the Green Lantern stuff is great right now.
cool.
Other stuff that's great right now, Batman Hush 2.
Finally getting another issue of Hush. Good God,
They've taken their time.
they certainly are.
Yeah. But finally get another one.
Have you seen any of, or have you looked at any of the variant covers for this?
I have not.
There's a couple that are very interesting. There is a little Francis Yu, I think his name. It's got a picture of Batman kind of hovering over Hush. Yeah, that one.
All right, let's pull this up for everybody to see. There we go. That's really cool looking. I like it.
Yeah, I like that one. And then the other one is drawn by Frank Cho. And I don't know, just something about it I really like. Yeah, that one.
There we go. Yeah, I like that one too, actually. Yeah, I think they're all really good covers, to be honest here.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I'm going to get.
Just a couple others.
I can guarantee
the connecting one.
See, that one's pretty cool too. You can be sure that, okay, well, a lot of this also has to do with, or will also be dependent on which covers my local comic book shop actually has.
That's true. Very true.
There's a chance this might be the only cover that they have is the main cover, in which case then I'll get that one. But if they have any of the other variants, I will probably.
I think this is my favorite of the variants.
Yeah, same. I don't know though. I really like that one with just his head.
It is cool though.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Also, why did I not pull up? Okay, whatever. Also, we have Superman, issue 28, part 1 of the Legion of Darkseid, where we actually just got an official reveal recently as to what this is all leading up to, which is interesting. The whole DC KO event.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that once more news comes out about that. Actually, something important is San Diego Comic-Con's this weekend. So we'll be getting a bunch of comic news. And so I might look into putting together another sort of news related for the stream for all the comic and stuff to go over, as there'll be a bunch of stuff there, and we'll get more information on this DC KO event. But before that, we have this 3-part Legion of Darkseid story, which will be interesting.
Yep, looking forward to that.
And then we also have Justice League Unlimited issue 9, which is the We Are Yesterday epilogue.
Oh, have you been reading this?
So this is actually one of the things that I was waiting for it all to come out. So I have the first 6 issues there ready to read. That's actually next on my list of things to read, is the full 6-part event.
Gotcha.
And so I'm going to go ahead and read it. I don't feel like I necessarily need to wait for the epilogue, but I just wanted the main meat of it there to wait for.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so that's, like I said, that's actually next up on my read list. So
another offering from Mr. Mark Waid.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. You know,
he's writing a lot of stuff lately.
He keeps himself busy. He knows his stuff. Speaking of
Mark Waid.
Speaking of Mark Waid, we got this little book here.
Issue number 2 of the new history of the DC. Did you read the first one?
No, I'm gonna wait for either it to hit either
all at once,
DC or I might get the trade to this. So I feel like this would be one worth getting the trade for. So
yeah, that's not a bad idea. I wonder if I should just wait for the trade. That first issue was really good, though.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's big in a couple reasons, right? A, it's Mark Waid, right? Like, when are you going to read something from him that's bad? You know, like he's a really good writer. But B, it's also just a huge book to finally set the record of what's actually important in the DC universe. And with being such a huge DC fan, I feel like that's just something important to have in my physical collection.
Yeah.
So,
but wait until the trade comes out. Might not be a bad idea. Just get it all at once.
Well, I mean, this is a big book, and it's kind of cool that it seems like each one's kind of focusing on its own thing and own part of the universe of this timeline. I know it breaks down of like, you know, book 1 is about this era, book 2 is about this era,
right.
book 3, and so, you know, I think it's good though. I don't know how many pages each of these are, but like this is $6 for the regular cover, meaning, you know, it's definitely a little thicker than your normal one. So, but yeah, I'll have to look at when it comes out. I don't know if this has a release date yet for its trade. It might just be one I asked for like Christmas or something. It'd be like, yeah. So
first issue was, I'm trying to see how many pages it was. It was 48 pages.
All right, that's a good length. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. So very, very cool. And stay tuned for when it'll be released in a little collection. And on neither of our lists, but I wanted to highlight it because I felt like it's a notable first issue coming out this week. There is actually a first issue of a brand new Godzilla series coming out, and not just a brand new Godzilla series, but this is the start of a brand new Godzilla comic universe where I've seen little bits and stuff that looks kind of interesting about it. So it's definitely something I'm intrigued by. I don't know if I'll read it right away, but I felt like it was worth mentioning as I think it's you know, I mean, A, it's Godzilla. I like Godzilla. And B, it's a fresh new start on something Godzilla.
That name sounds familiar.
Tim Seeley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of where would I have heard that name?
Let's see here. He has written... Oh, he's written a bit of stuff here. Look at this. He wrote G.I. Joe vs. Transformers. Oh, well, some of them.
I know where I have heard of him. He did some. I think he did some Nightwing.
He wrote. I see one issue of Nightwing here. Oh, he wrote Grayson.
Yeah, he wrote for volume 4 of Nightwing back in 2016, 2017.
Oh yeah, volume 4. I see a bunch of that here. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
2016 to 2017.
Yeah, that's where I would have heard of him because I think I was reading some of that Nightwing when it came out.
Very nice.
Oh yeah, he wrote the first probably more, but he wrote the first volume of Nightwing when Rebirth came out.
Oh, that run. Yeah. That's it's the first 34 issues except for 21. I don't know what 21 ties into, but he wrote all the other issues.
Volume 1 of that was called Better Than Batman.
Yeah, I might have read that one, but I don't remember.
Oh, I know I read it. Yeah, I know that I read it.
Well, very cool. But yeah, that's all the stuff that's coming out this week that we're looking forward to. See here, I didn't pull up our main topic here, but for our main topic, we are talking about the Galactus Trilogy, which consists of Fantastic Four issues 48, 49, and 50. This was such a big importance as it was the first appearances of both Silver Surfer and Galactus. And so it's huge for a bunch of reasons. I mean, it's part of the original Fantastic Four run that came out in 1966, March 1st. 1966 is when issue 48 came out, so that's really cool. But this I feel like one of the I haven't read through all of it myself, but I feel like one of the things that's at least worth dipping your toe into is the original era of Fantastic Four. Like, I would recommend to any comic reader, go check out some of this original era of Fantastic Four. As I think of the older, especially back then from the 60s, of the older Marvel comics, I think it really highlights the best of like the charm of what they were back then, especially Stan Lee and Jack Kirby together. So, something truly special, and you can tell this is a big one. They love to do some of the cosmic stuff, and this obviously opened up especially nowadays, like it opened up big doors for how we know the Marvel universe nowadays, or cosmic universe nowadays.
Yeah.
And the core of the story, I think, is going to be the same of what we get on the big screen next week, or this week, however you want to call it.
First steps, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and actually seeing a proper Galactus on screen, I think, is really cool. So that'll be, I think it'll be good stuff. So, but yeah, Fantastic Four, The Coming of Galactus. This is a very important key issue too. I remember any times I've actually seen this issue around out at cons and stuff, it always goes for crazy prices.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you've got
crazy.
The first appearance of two very iconic characters.
Yeah, indeed. And so it's very big. And so I remember last week I made a very bold statement saying that I think this is one of the most, or I said if I could only name, say, 5 Marvel stories for somebody to read, this would be one of them. I would probably still say that. I mean, to be fair, there's a bunch of Marvel stuff, but I think if I was to specifically pick, a few issues of the original Fantastic Four, this would be one of the places I'd be like, go read that. If it wasn't that, it would probably be like the first 2 issues that like Dr. Doom was in, which were also very big and great as well.
Right.
But yeah, there's just a bunch of great stuff, I think, with the original Fantastic Four, and I don't know about you, but it's harder for me to binge stories that's older from like 80s and earlier and stuff, just because of the way they're written. I know I've brought this point up before, and so it's one of those that's like I'd really like to get into, but it's one of those I'd kind of need to ease myself getting into, of like an issue or two, go off and read something else, and then probably come back to it for like an issue or 2 or something, just because of how it's told. But it's not to say though that might just be a B thing though. But I think original Fantastic Four is great, and yeah, we'll get into this.
So before we get into this,
yeah,
I've got what you might consider a hot take.
Okay.
So, and this is just to warn folks that are watching this. The Fantastic Four have never been my favorite, or even close to my favorite superhero team.
Okay.
I haven't read a whole lot. What I have read, I have quite frankly not really been all that interested in.
Okay.
So the book we're going to be talking about next week, I have never read before. So we'll see how if my mind can be changed by Mr. Hickman.
Let's say Hickman's good.
But yeah, rereading this, I could not tell you the first time I read the story. It's probably been decades since I've read this story.
Wow.
But I reread it last night, and I was like, okay. I like Galactus. I really like Silver Surfer. I'm a big fan of Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I want to read more Silver Surfer stuff.
But in this context, I was just like, okay, it's quite the way I remember it. It was
fair enough.
And there's nothing to. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like the team. I just, if I'm going to read a Marvel comic, I would probably read something else over.
I completely understand that. See, that's the same way I'm like, I mean, that's the same way I'm like with like a bunch of the characters that you like, right? Like, so you know, for me, Fantastic Four is definitely one of my favorite Marvel groups. I just always think they have a special vibe that I don't get the same sort of vibe that I feel like with most other or really any other group, and just that vibe is something that I really like, and I think part of it probably has to do with something we've talked about before in previous episodes, especially when we talked about Thanos Quest. Was me being more of a cosmic person, and it gets
it makes more sense
like
that they would be a bigger deal to you.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like I really like Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom came from the Fantastic Four. So I really like Doctor Doom. I would have to say I like Doctor Doom more than I do Fantastic Four.
I mean, I would agree with that, but that's also because I'm much more of a. I've always favored the villains. My family's always like, "Why do you always like the villains more?" And they make fun of me for it, but it's like,
they're more interesting. Certain villains are just more interesting. Like Doctor Doom, I always thought was more interesting.
Yeah, like that I'd agree with. Although I do love Reed as a character, though. So, but yeah, it's still yes.
Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, the coming of Galactus.
Fair enough. The coming of Galactus, and something about these older comics too is you gotta love how much they, a lot of times they used to try to be like very singular, right, about like self-contained within one issue, or there's other times where it's just like half the story is about wrapping up whatever happened last, and the other half is about wrapping up what's next. And that's literally the case here of 48 and 50, where the first half of this starts wraps up the storyline that they're going to get to touch on later with Inhumans. And actually, that's a big thing about Fantastic Four that we're not necessarily here to talk about today, but the Inhumans first came from Fantastic Four.
They did,
and so
and this one kind of finished up a story that I don't remember ever reading.
I know I haven't read it, but I would be interested in it. But obviously,
I actually liked the Inhumans as opposed to, I think you had mentioned that you were not a big fan of the Inhumans.
No, I like Inhumans. I know Blue doesn't like Inhumans, but I like them.
Maybe it was somebody else that doesn't.
I really liked the if you remember, I think it was in early 2000s. It might be under the Marvel Knights label. There's I think it's 12 issues long. Written who wrote it? I think it's Paul Jenkins and Jay
That's
Lee.
kind of the Paul Jenkins run is kind of the definitive Inhumans run.
Yeah, I read that, and that's what got me into Inhumans. I then watched the first episode of the Inhuman show.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, this is garbage.
It was very disappointing. Like I just happen to be a big fan of the Inhumans. And not just because of the Paul Jenkins run. There are other runs that I think even though that was like the definitive run, there are other runs that I actually liked a little bit more. But needless to say, I was excited for the Inhumans TV show. Like super excited. When they announced it, I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. And then it came out and it was like, well, that was disappointing. Like I don't know how many times over disappointing that was. It was bad.
It was rough.
So bad. Like the only thing good about that TV show was the casting of Anson Mount as Black Bolt.
Fair.
I feel like he got done dirty on that. And then he got done dirty again when he reprised his role. I was like, okay, that ain't right. That's just not right.
Meanwhile, check out Anson Mount in a great role on Strange New Worlds, where he's not done dirty there and written very well. Where I love his Captain Pike in that. So, but anyway,
he's no, the Inhumans. There was another really good run done by Charles Soule. I've
read a big arc of it called Inhumanity.
Yeah.
and I like that, but I haven't read like the main bit of that run because I know that's obviously a big event later on into it. And so, but yeah, I'd like to read that.
But back to your point, yes, the Inhumans kind of started in Fantastic Four. So the Fantastic Four books are iconic because you get a lot of first appearances of iconic characters.
Sure.
The team itself, I don't know how to describe it. I just don't find them all that interesting.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm wording it the right. They're interesting, but it's not interesting enough for me to like become an avid reader.
I can understand that. I mean, there's like there's things like that for me. So
yeah,
completely
like being with really big into the cosmic thing. I can definitely understand why you would gravitate toward them.
Yeah.
Whereas as far as Marvel goes, I'd have to say my favorite team is probably always going to be the X-Men.
That's what I say. Figured it would be. But yeah. Well, anyway, though, with this, though, we get I mean, see, something I really liked about these issues is that we did get to see a bunch of characterization with them, a bunch of character growth, which was cool. Here we actually got to see here's the first panel you ever get to see Silver Surfer, right down there. And it continues on, and I really like what we see here with the setup of him literally surfing through the stars, and you get to see how it talks about he literally calls it the universe itself as his highway, as he's dodging comets and meteors and all that, which is really cool. Asteroids, rocketing.
It's also pretty interesting how a certain character that's not supposed to get involved got so involved in these events. Like, I'm talking about the Watcher.
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, yeah.
No, he's not supposed to get involved.
That is true.
He gets very involved.
That is true. But yeah, I like this bit there where we got to see wider cosmic stuff, and here we actually get our first name drop of Galactus as well, which is cool. And, starting to build up the threat of who exactly Galactus is, which I thought was really neat.
Yeah.
We see. There's all this stuff going back. And I'm curious if we're going to see any bits like this in the movie where the sky's on fire or rocks in the sky that we see as a lead up to Galactus. Now, I think if it did happen, it'd be for different reasons, but I think it'd be interesting if any of this does happen at all. Because we do see weird storm stuff happen in the trailers when what the frick's the new left my Charlotte Ball comes, because she's the surfer in the movie.
Yeah.
And so it makes me curious if they're going to be paying any homages to that in any way. But yeah, we see these interesting lead-up events to Galactus himself. We actually get a confrontation between Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four. Actually, before that, see, this is one of the bits that actually really stood out to me, is I really like what makes the Fantastic Four stand out to me. I'm not saying that they're the only group that does this, but I think they're part of the group. I think they're what started this and what makes them the most special about this. I don't want to say gimmick, but this idea of a team that's actually a family. They're all related in some way or another. And so you actually I think you get a lot of great moments between the characters. And something we in particular get with this is pretty much the entire time during these issues, we see Sue not happy with Reed being that kind of guy that always works in the lab, and she's like, well, he's ditching me as his, what he's doing his duties as a husband. Why isn't he doing that? And so that was one of the things I really liked. I don't know, just certain character moments I think really it stood out to me a little more this time around actually reading it than the last time. And so that's something I really liked in particular. And we get to see that here a little bit. But then we do get to see we see the Watcher here actually come in, like he actually talks to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just supposed to interfere, but let me tell you about all this stuff that will, help you against the fight, such as beware Galactus, he's coming." And so, technically he views it as I'm not interfering because I'm not doing anything, although he is definitely pulling strings kind of behind the curtain,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of their workaround behind that. But I definitely do feel like as if later on they've gone like, oh no, he can't do anything at all. Like, for example, what we saw in Infinity Gauntlet, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
He didn't.
But anyway, here's a Surfer, and you get to see his cosmic powers and stuff. I really need to read more Surfer stuff. But here we get to actually see them come together. But Surfer did the signal, and that's where we get. This is a really interesting art page, I felt like. It's like, what in the world is going on here? Because the art's just so different here, it threw me off.
Yeah.
But here we get to see our first ever appearance of Galactus, which is red, which I think is very interesting. I don't know. I should have looked into this earlier, but it's like, why is Galactus' first appearance red? I'm not actually sure on that. But I thought this was a very interesting first appearance of Galactus.
Yeah, because I mean, most people know him in the purple.
Yeah. I'm seeing if I can find an answer to this since I meant to look it up earlier and forgot. I'm looking this up really quick. It is. I'm not saying it. I see one answer here, but I'm trying to see if it's for sure legit here. It says. What I'm reading here right off the bat, though, I'm not 100% about how factual this is, but it's saying it was due to printing issues. And so it's actually a misprint that is red and green, but is later corrected.
Oh.
But I'm not sure how legit that is or not. But that wouldn't surprise me, because you have to think that, like, while that is definitely during when Marvel was starting to grow a lot, that's still them getting their footing in some ways, I think. But also, printing back then was very different.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we're talking about the 60s. And when I got to meet Jim Shooter for the first time, he talked to me about like how printing worked back then. And that was like printing technology from like the 80s. So you have to think of even how much it would have gone from the 60s to the 80s in a regard here, for when we're talking about that, to the comic he showed me, which is like one of the Avengers comics, maybe even a West Coast Avengers comic. I know the cover if I saw it. I don't remember what issue, but he showed me like how there's a misprint in it, and like things with like that would be fairly common, and sometimes you just kind of have to let it roll, and so the answer there wouldn't surprise me if that's legit, but I'd have to do further research to see if that's actually legit or not. But that's just what I'm saying right off the bat.
It would be surprising if this was like a misprint and they just went with it.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the question. I could see it, but it's definitely very interesting, though. That this could have been the colors of our Galactus.
Yeah,
that would have been quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Galactus and red works. I don't know about green though. He kind of looks like it's like Santa Claus colors almost.
I was gonna say it looks like a Christmas Galactus.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Matthew a bit ago said, "Dr. Doom curses. It's a fantastic flamer." we do see the crowd curse out at poor Johnny.
Yeah.
But next issue, though, I feel like is the main meat, and also like the main. Where the heck is it? Why is it not? Here we go. Is I feel like the main meat of this story, and this is what I also have on the thumbnail.
If this be Doomsday.
I know, right? I mean, this to me, when I think of this trilogy, this is the cover I think of. I mean, obviously, it's the one that I have, but like I think it's for good reason. You know, like it's such a big cover where you actually get to see Galactus being a big imposing threat, and you see Silver Surfer there as well. And yeah, I don't know. I think this is a great Kirby cover.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, here we get to actually see the corrected colors, and there he is with Watcher, and he's like, you know, I think it's always interesting when we see the cosmic beings interact,
Yeah,
with each other there, and so we get that whole plot line of them trying to deal with Galactus, but you know he's just too powerful, and so the heroes start feeling defeated as they come to this realization that they can't really do anything about him. It's Galactus, as they come to learn, is a very scary threat to deal with.
Yeah.
We also do get this interesting story. Bless you. We get this interesting story where Silver Surfer ends up at oh my god, what's her name's place? Is it Alicia?
His
Ben Grimm's
his girlfriend.
Girlfriend, yeah. Anyway, ends up at her place, and that's where we see the humanity of Silver Surfer break out, and that's the cause of being implanted of that he, that's why he defies Galactus, which is a big part of this that we get into in the last issue of when he actually comes to attack Galactus, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
And so, very cool. I will say, since we're obviously talking about this leading up to the movie, I don't want to spend too long talking about what I'm expecting from the movie, but I will say the one part that I'm really hesitant about with the movie is how they're going to handle Shala Ball and Galactus and stuff in the future of the MCU. Because my big worry is that they said they're wanting to save the main Silver Surfer for later, so they could do him with more justice, I think. So they could actually use him in a bigger role when they actually decide to use the main Silver Surfer. I understand that. But my concern here goes, well, there's supposedly, there's a rumor, and this would make sense with the character, that you remember how when Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, we learned that there's some characters where there's only one of them in the entire multiverse. I don't remember what they're called, but America Chavez was one where there's only one America Chavez across the entire Marvel multiverse.
Right.
They had a name for it, but I don't remember what it was called. Rumor is Galactus is also going to be one where he's also the only one. Now, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen Thunderbolts. We see in the post-credits for that a Fantastic Four ship, which I think very much spoils the movie of what's going to happen in Fantastic Four. And it's kind of something I figured anyway, but I feel like it just confirms that, like, we know their universe is going to die, and then they just barely escape. So where I'm going with this is I feel like Marvel is kind of boxing themselves in for if they were to later use Silver Surfer, how are they going to use Silver Surfer without a Galactus? And that's why I kind of feel like they should have just went ahead with the normal Silver Surfer, because that's the Silver Surfer everybody already loves, or, knows and likes, versus this other one. But also, why couldn't they also just made him travel across the universe with them in some way as well, since he does obviously turn a new leaf by the end of the story. So that's my big worry about the movie. I hope I'm surprised with how they do it, but I just can't help myself of how big that is a part of the story. And people love Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad, not Shala Ball. So
yeah, it's definitely a little odd that they're going with an alternate Silver Surfer.
I mean, in some regards, it makes, I guess, some sense, since it is an alternate universe, and I love the vibe of this universe to fit to Fantastic Four. For an alternate universe, I think it perfectly fits the vibe of Fantastic Four, especially whenever you kind of look at what the Fantastic Four strive to do, particularly within these first 50 issues of Fantastic Four. And so, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the movie goes. Like I said, I am wanting to do a movie review, and so I know that'll be a big point that I bring up, but stay tuned for whatever will happen with the movie review, as it's something I want to do.
So You have your ticket for it already, right?
Yes, I'm going Thursday night.
Yeah, so am I.
I for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, that for whatever reason, my I was going with friends, the friend that bought the tickets was wanting to go to Cinemark. I don't care wherever we go, but
Yeah.
we're going to their XD theater for it, and for whatever reason, the only showing on Thursday that they were playing was like 9:15 or 9:30 or something like that. So that's when we're going, because that's literally the earliest time to see it on Cinemark's best screen, which is kind of weird because usually they have like showings at 8:30. But
we are going at. So I watch almost all of my movies at AMC because
there's not an AMC near me, at least not yet.
I have a subscription with AMC.
There you go.
But let me see. I'm trying to pull up my ticket.
Rumor is there is an AMC. There we go. Oh, so that's actually pretty close to me because that's 9 for me. So we're going to be seeing it about the same time, funny enough.
Interesting.
So you're gonna be getting out like 20-30 minutes sooner than me. So very funny. But yeah.
Nice.
So here Matthew says Galactus smellactus. Yeah, nobody ever talks about how Galactus smells. What does the sense of pure cosmic energy smell like? Who knows?
Yeah. What does cosmic energy smell
but yes,
like?
I do. Matthew nails it here. The 50s, 60s look of it. No, I think the whole 60s vibe of it is what really, like I said, I think it harkens back to these original comics, and it's what I think really makes this new movie work for being an alternate universe. Because at first, with it being an alternate universe, I'm like, I don't think I like it. But the more I see of it in that world, I'm like, okay, this world just fits what the classic Fantastic Four is, and that's the vibe they're going for. And so, like I said, another reason why I wanted to cover the story, like I said, this is the big influential story, I feel like, as it kind of gets this vibe, and it's the introduction of Silver Surfer and Galactus, where we're going to, I think, see similar roles from him in this movie. So I also love, too, that with all the promotional material of the movie, we haven't seen a full reveal of Galactus, which they're intentionally saving for on the big screen, which is really cool. At least for, the first week, and then, week 2, they'll post all the spoilers and trailers, but, and then Matthew's saying have to wait next month for it. I think as long as you go see it, that's all that matters at the end of the day. I think is supporting it as long as you can, even if it's a couple weeks late. That's still support that they're getting at the end of the day. I think
Yeah, I'm not sure that Blue is even going to go see this.
I know Blue wants to, but I know the priority was Superman. So we'll see.
Yeah.
As it should be. Go watch Superman, everybody.
Yeah, and if you've already seen it once, go see it again.
I've seen it 3 times as of Friday.
Only 2 for me.
I don't know. I think 3rd time was enough for me, but I do love that movie, though.
I'd like to see it at least 2 more times.
It's really good. Anyway, about Fantastic Four, what else do we have to talk about this? We do get to actually see Galactus has his machine where he's building stuff, and we get to see like Galactus be a scientist of sorts, and that's always a fascinating aspect to me of Galactus, is that there's more to him than just being the planet eater that people labels him as.
See, and if you've not read this book, there is another aspect of Galactus that you may not be aware of. But this Galactus trilogy is very strong about the point. But Galactus is not necessarily evil.
Yeah. That's another important way of it as well.
He just needs energy, and
and that's really important at the end. Skipping ahead to the end of a near, oh my God, how many years? 60-year-old story of, when we get to the Watcher being like, hey, you don't have to destroy this planet. There's people here. Go find planets that isn't inhabited. So it's not like he needs all the life force of the people. Right. It's about what the planet actually has. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to have life on it.
Right.
And so, but yeah, that was a big point of it, absolutely, at the end. But yeah, it was very interesting though too of seeing like the Watcher interfere in a way of like, I like this world. This is a very unique world because humans are definitely special. Maybe not special in that way, but the other kind of special. And so,
But yeah, so Galactus isn't necessarily a bad guy. He's just he's a cosmic entity. He does not good or evil. He just is.
That's what I can't. I mean, that's what I always love about his character, and I can't wait for. I hope they get that aspect of him right in the movie. Like he's such a big character to get right, and they completely fumbled Galactus the first time around, if you can even call that Galactus.
I don't.
Exactly. It's like so bad you don't even want to like point at it and call it Galactus.
I mean, the movie in general was just bad.
Well, I think the movie was like the first half of it. I feel like was okay. I'm not gonna say it was good, but like it was okay, But yeah. Something that I found out about. Actually, let me get a link to this because you all might be interested in this, and I could actually post it in the link in the description as well. Is a friend sent to me today. Did you know that there's a Fantastic Four movie that was made in 1994?
Yeah, never hit the theaters.
You can watch it on YouTube, the full thing. And my friend sent me a link to it. And so I'm going to post it in the chat. And I'm going to, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and post it in the description as well.
Okay.
But that is that's something I might actually watch before the movie. And I just saw something today as well. I'm not sure if this is legit or not, but supposedly the main Fantastic Four cast of that actually has cameos in this new movie, which is interesting. Supposedly, I saw something about that, and then I hate when you're looking at something on social media and it refreshes.
Yeah,
it did today, so I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I read something about that and I wasn't able to verify it, so take that with a grain of salt. But I was like, that's really cool if that's true. But yeah, I don't know what any of them like. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I might give it a watch. It's only like a roughly an hour and a half long movie, so free on YouTube. So I think it'd be an interesting thing to watch. Yeah. Where was I? I completely lost my train of thought about talking about that movie. But we're gonna be in the other movies. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's a low bar though that this Fantastic Four movie I think will probably easily be the best Fantastic Four movie. Although the one aspect that I really like about the original two Fox ones is I would argue that Reed was casted very well, and I'm not sure about Pedro being a better Reed. Obviously, I'm going to be going into this one with an open mind, but I think it's going to be hard for Pedro to be considered the best Reed.
Which one are you referring to?
The one in like 2005. What's his name?
The one with Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Reed, I thought he played a pretty good Reed. What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think maybe it's a hot take, but I thought it was good.
So
that Reed at least.
Although I don't want to say anything bad about a certain. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. I don't want to. There's a guy the actor that played Dr. Doom in that movie recently passed away.
Rest in peace.
And I mean, it sucks that a talent has gone, but I can't really blame him as much as I can the writing, but his Dr. Doom was horrible.
I didn't hate it, but at the same time, I feel like the whole thing was just okay. You know what I mean? You can't necessarily call it good. But
I absolutely hated that Dr. Doom portrayal.
Fair.
But again, I don't think it was the actor's fault.
That's fair. Very fair.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could have been a good Doctor Doom, but whoever wrote it
Yeah.
just did
That's
not. I
fair.
mean, the way he wrote the Doctor Doom character, it was just like, no, that's not Doctor Doom.
Hopefully it's better in Doomsday, but I have
Let's not go there.
I think that movie's gonna be rough.
I'm
not,
still,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm still sore about that, but we'll move on.
I don't even know where I begin with pronouncing that name, Matthew, but thank you very much. I know I would completely butcher saying that name, but thank you, Matthew, for the clarification.
Is that Ian?
I don't know. Maybe I think that's a capital I. Well, yeah, that would be a capital I. I don't know how you say that.
Who is he talking about?
That's the person who plays Reed. And
Oh, okay.
I don't have no idea how the hell you say that. I'm not even going to try. So anyway, moving on. Back to this comic. Oh, what else do we have to talk about this? We do see one of the ways that the Watcher goes behind the scenes as he goes and does stuff by communicating with Johnny on the thing will load. Maybe it just won't load. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, he sends Johnny off on a quest to because apparently Johnny is the only one that can do it.
Yeah.
To I guess steal this
Just go.
machine.
You know what? Fair enough, Matthew. He just says, just go watch a video of him saying it. Yeah, with a name like that, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, we see Johnny, and then there's this big threat of the Watchers like, oh no, once the Silver Surfer snaps after Alicia is like, you weren't necessarily defined by all this as you think, and he breaks through and starts defying against Galactus. That's where the issue cuts off. Next issue, we start seeing this battle where Silver Surfer starts holding off of the stuff Galactus is doing, giving time for Human Torch to get back, where he does get back, and then that's where we get actually a very famous Marvel item that is, I feel like every now and then we always see a reference to this item across certain stories. Is of the Ultimate Nullifier.
Yeah,
that very powerful little gadget, one could say. And so another very iconic bit, and so they use that to threaten Galactus essentially, and when that's he goes away, and then the second half of this, at least as far as why we were talking about the story, doesn't really matter, as that just goes more off to just set up the next bit of Fantastic Four and more character growth of what's going on with Human Torch at the time, as since they fought off the threat, Human Torch is now back off to college under some other name that he goes by at college. And so I don't remember what that name was, but you see him off there, and you see more of Reed and Sue's relationship, which I like seeing more of that, as well as Alicia and Ingram together, as Ben feels as if she is liking Silver Surfer more when that wasn't necessarily the case. So there's a bunch of character stuff, and definitely a lot of setup, but setup of like just future character growth, but because there wasn't too much by the end of it as like this is what's happening next issue. It's kind of just wrapping up a bunch of character stuff, it seemed like. So, but yeah, that's the Galactus trilogy in a nutshell. It's only 3 issues that we're talking about, and only like half of 2 of the issues really mattered. Although we did go down a big rabbit hole against with Inhumans. Maybe that's something we should talk about sometime. Add to the list, but yeah. Any final thoughts on the Galactus trilogy?
No, I mean I'd say it is, despite the fact that not one of my favorite teams, it is, like you said, a very iconic comic story in regards to
Let me say this.
Marvel's history.
If there's only, I know you said you're not a big Fantastic Four fan, but if there was only one Fantastic Four story you'd say somebody should read out of what you've read, would this one be it or something else? Hitting with those hard-hitting questions, folks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of other Fantastic Four comics that I've read.
Because I'll say this, while you're thinking about it, I'll say this. When I was first recommended this, I have always seen this as such a high prestige comic. And when I first read it, I was like, okay, that's fine, you know. But then when I revisited it, that's when I realized, oh, this is why it's such a huge, important story. And I had a much deeper appreciation for it the second time around reading it compared to the first.
Part of me thinks that maybe Fantastic Four number 5 would be more important.
Because that's the Doctor Doom, right?
Yeah, that's the first appearance of Doctor Doom.
5 and 6 is kind of like a two-parter in that aspect, which
was
the other one I brought up at the beginning of if there's any two to read. I think if you were to only read one Fantastic Four thing, it'd be this or that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might be this one because I think the story is better overall.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely gotten their footing a bit more in writing and working together.
The appearance of Doctor Doom, at least to me, is more important.
Sure,
but as a story, yeah, that story was like it was all right. This one was this one was probably better. Yeah, I'd say if I were to pick a Fantastic Four story for someone to read, yeah, I'd probably go with this one.
Yeah, I know it's my first gut instinct, as it was the one that I know was first recommended to me, and
because I can't really think of any of the newer, and when I say newer, I am thinking from the 1990s on.
Yeah,
I can't really think of anything that is really that great.
Well, I mean, I think another thing, though, too, of what also makes this run really stand out, and I haven't read a bunch of the other Marvel comics from this era, so I can't really say for sure, but I feel like the stories and writing of it holds up really well, even after 60 years. And I can't, like I said, I can't say for sure that the other Marvel stories are that way, but just from these, I'm like, it holds up really well. I think it's part of the reason of what made it as big as it is. Because you don't see a bunch of other people talk about much of the other Marvel stuff from the 60s.
Yeah. I really liked the first story arc from Dan Slott's run.
Yeah, that was good.
Of Fantastic Four. Not necessarily would I recommend it to somebody.
Sure.
But,
yeah. I do want to read all of this stuff someday. But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was our Fantastic Four review of the Galactus trilogy. Behold Galactus. That's actually what the thing says here. I was going to put down the thumb up, just felt too cluttered.
Behold Galactus.
Galactus. So, yeah.
Jonathan Hickman is next.
Yes.
Week.
I don't remember what that first arc is called, but it is the first arc of Jonathan Hickman's run of Fantastic Four, which is very big. And
it's called I just had this up a second ago.
It's big for what's going on with the MCU right now. Actually, I think it's been big, as there's a bunch of concepts from it that the MCU has taken, specifically like Multiverse of Madness that we'll get into.
Actually, I think it might just be called Volume 1.
No, there's definitely stuff there. I saw a thing about it because Marvel, what's DC's been doing all this stuff of stories and that smaller $10 trade paperback. Marvel started doing their own, and the first arc that we're talking about is actually in one of those, and it's given a name there.
So, are we just going over the first story arc or the first volume? Because the first volume is crap. I don't know how many. I don't remember how many issues volume 1 is.
Solve Everything is what I'm looking at here. How many pages is this include? This includes... Oh my god, this has a lot.
Well, no, because there's a volume 1 and there's a book 1 that's like an omnibus.
When I first read the story, it was in a volume format. That was like your 5-6 issues, maybe just 4 or something like that.
Okay.
So whatever that is, we just go from that. I might read a little bit beyond that, but yeah.
I probably will not. Yeah, I can't.
But yeah, I don't remember exactly which one it was that I got or read. But I know I did read. Oh, this is the one is that it? No.
Well, there's okay, Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four reading order. Oh, that's not helpful. Dark Reign, is that it? No, I can't.
No. Yeah, I'm now.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to be reading.
We'll figure. I'll get it figured out here shortly, sooner than later, and I will make sure to send it your way. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is.
Solve everything. Okay, yeah, solve everything. I found it.
First collection includes the first 8 issues. I would say the first 570 through 578 at the very most.
Well, the volume 1 solve everything is 5 issues.
Okay, there we go. Then 5 issues. That's what I read.
It's 570 through 574.
That sounds right of what I read then.
Yeah.
Oh wait, here it is. Yeah. This is what I read initially. Yes, that is what I read originally. So that is what we are reading.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. We've figured out the mystery.
Indeed.
And of course, it's not on Comixology.
That's all on Marvel Unlimited.
I'm sure it's on Marvel Unlimited. I just have to.
You just like reading stuff there. I get it.
Yeah. See, what was funny is I knew I was reading the Galactus trilogy. For the life of me, I couldn't remember the issue numbers. So I'm looking on Marvel Unlimited for Galactus trilogy, can't find shit, and I'm like, okay, what fucking issues were these? So I had to go to some other website to find out what issues they were, and I'm like, okay, that's right. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, this is a great episode, folks. See you all next week for Fantastic Four, Solve Everything. Go check out Rebel
And then
Nerd
after
Radio.
that, we're going to talk about the Inhumans. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, we still need to figure out what we're doing. We should probably try to figure that out before the next week so we can actually say it.
Possibly.
But, yeah. But we'll be live next week. Fantastic Four, Solve Everything. What are you all talking about on Rebel Nerd Radio?
I think
that's right. Video games, right?
Yeah, I think we're talking about Star Wars video games.
Very cool. Quite a good broad topic. I actually just recently played through Force Unleashed for my first full playthrough recently.
Very cool.
Because in preparation of something in next month. So, you know. But yeah, anyway, see you all next time here in the Dingus Den.